Sage froze while analyzing the books customers were purchasing. Page numbers, specific titles, systematic selections. 14 years of NSA cryptography experience told him these weren't random book purchases. This is an espionage communication network, he murmured, looking at the bookshelves. Before we dive into this incredible story, tell us in the comments which city you're watching from today. And if this story moves you, make sure to subscribe because tomorrow I have something very special planned for you. The Corner Manuscript independent bookstore occupied a Victorian-era building in Boston's North End, its floor-to-ceiling shelves and cozy reading nooks creating the kind of intellectual atmosphere that attracted serious readers, local writers, and academics who appreciated having access to both rare books and contemporary literature. At 2:45 p.m. on a Wednesday afternoon, the store maintained the quiet energy that independent bookstores cultivated for customers who wanted to browse without pressure. Dr. Sage Cypher Montgomery had been working at the bookstore for 18 months, ever since he'd moved to Boston seeking a complete change from the high-stress federal career that had consumed most of his adult professional life. At 39, he'd found unexpected satisfaction in helping customers discover books, managing inventory for rare and specialized publications, and contributing to the kind of community literary culture that made independent bookstores essential neighborhood institutions. The transition to civilian book retail had offered Sage the kind of intellectual engagement he'd always valued, combined with peaceful work environment and regular interaction with people who shared his love of literature, history, and complex ideas. His recommendations were thoughtful, his knowledge of books was extensive, and his ability to connect customers with exactly what they were seeking had quickly established him as a valued member of the bookstore staff. The Corner Manuscript served a diverse clientele, professors from nearby universities, graduate students researching obscure topics, local residents who preferred independent bookstores to chain retailers, collectors seeking rare editions, and tourists who appreciated finding unique books that reflected Boston's intellectual heritage. Sage approached every aspect of bookselling with systematic attention that most customers attributed to excellent literary education and natural passion for books. His inventory management was meticulous, his customer service reflected genuine enthusiasm for literature, and his ability to discuss complex topics across multiple fields had earned him regular customers who sought his recommendations. What customers didn't realize was that Sage's approach to pattern recognition, analytical thinking, and systematic information processing had been shaped by 14 years as an NSA cryptographer specializing in code breaking and encrypted communication analysis for national security intelligence operations. His federal background had involved deciphering encrypted messages from foreign intelligence services, analyzing communication patterns that revealed espionage networks, and developing cryptographic solutions that protected American intelligence operations. Understanding how information could be hidden within seemingly innocent communications, recognizing systematic patterns that indicated organized intelligence activities, and identifying the subtle methods that operatives used to coordinate activities without detection were skills that had been central to his national security work. During his first year at the bookstore, Sage had served hundreds of customers without his cryptography training activating any particular concerns about their book selections or behavior. However, during recent months, he'd begun noticing patterns among certain customers that were triggering analytical instincts he'd assumed were dormant since his retirement from intelligence work. A group of approximately 8 regular customers were making book purchases that showed systematic characteristics rather than typical reading interests. These individuals consistently selected books with specific numerical patterns in their publication dates, chose titles that contained particular word sequences, and made purchases that seemed coordinated with each other's visits to the store. More intriguingly, these customers engaged in conversations that appeared casual but contained linguistic patterns that Sage recognized from his NSA experience as potential coded communications. They discussed books using terminology and phrasing that seemed designed to convey information beyond the apparent literary content of their conversations. The most concerning discovery came when Sage began analyzing the specific books being purchased and their potential use in traditional book cipher operations. Several customers were buying identical editions of specific titles, focusing on books with particular pagination systems, and showing interest in works that would provide ideal frameworks for hiding encrypted messages within seemingly innocent literary discussions. Sage's cryptography background had exposed him to numerous cases where intelligence operatives used bookstores, libraries, and literary discussions to coordinate espionage activities while maintaining cover identities as ordinary citizens with intellectual interests. The patterns he was observing matched operational methods used by foreign intelligence services that needed to communicate within the United States without using electronic systems that could be monitored by counterintelligence agencies. The timing of these customers' visits also suggested systematic coordination rather than coincidental reading habits. They appeared at predictable intervals, made purchases that complemented each other's selections, and conducted their bookstore interactions in ways that would allow information exchange without arousing suspicion from casual observers. Sage began documenting the patterns he was observing while maintaining his routine bookstore duties, applying analytical skills that had been central to his intelligence work but adapting them to civilian circumstances that required careful discretion to avoid alerting potential operatives to counterintelligence interest. The book's cipher possibilities were becoming undeniable. Several customers were purchasing books that would provide ideal reference materials for encoding and decoding messages using traditional literary cipher methods where specific words, letters, or numerical sequences within texts could represent hidden information that would be meaningless to anyone without the proper decryption keys. More sophisticated was the potential use of steganographic techniques that Sage recognized from his NSA training methods of hiding information within seemingly innocent communications by using predetermined patterns that would be invisible to casual observation but clear to trained intelligence operatives with appropriate reference materials. The conversations these customers conducted within the bookstore also showed characteristics that Sage's cryptography experience had taught him to recognize as potential verbal cipher communications. They discussed authors, publication dates, and literary themes using patterns that could convey operational information while appearing to be ordinary book enthusiasts sharing reading recommendations. Sage's federal training had exposed him to numerous foreign intelligence operations that used cultural and intellectual settings as cover for espionage activities. Bookstores were particularly attractive for these operations because they provided legitimate reasons for people to gather, discuss complex topics, exchange materials, and engage in intellectual conversations that could mask systematic intelligence coordination. The geographic pattern of where these customers claimed to live and work also suggested organized activity rather than coincidental literary interests. They represented diverse professional backgrounds but showed coordination in their bookstore visits that indicated external organization rather than independent reading habits. Most significantly, Sage had begun recognizing specific books being purchased that were known within intelligence communities as standard references for various cipher and steganography operations, texts that appeared innocuous to civilian readers but provided sophisticated frameworks for hiding and transmitting classified information. Sage realized he was potentially witnessing active espionage operations that fell under federal counterintelligence jurisdiction and required immediate attention from national security authorities. His 14 years of NSA experience had taught him both the legal obligations and proper protocols for reporting suspected intelligence activities while maintaining operational security that wouldn't compromise ongoing investigations. His first concern was national security. Foreign intelligence operations on American soil represented potential threats to classified information, government operations, and the safety of intelligence assets who might be exposed if espionage networks were allowed to continue operating undetected. This is Dr. Sage Montgomery, former NSA cryptographer, clearance level TS/SCI, retired 2020. He said when connected to the FBI counterintelligence tip line, "I have suspected foreign intelligence operations at my civilian employment location in Boston. Systematic book cipher communications, coordinated operatives, probable espionage network." The response from federal authorities was immediate and serious. FBI counterintelligence Special Agent David Chen contacted Sage within hours, recognizing both the significance of his observations and the unique expertise he could provide for understanding cryptographic intelligence operations. "Sage, your NSA background makes you invaluable for analyzing this situation," Agent Chen explained during their secure briefing. "We need someone with your expertise who has direct access to the suspected operatives and can help us understand their communication methods and operational structure." Working with active counterintelligence agents, Sage helped analyze what appeared to be a sophisticated foreign intelligence network that was using his bookstore as a coordination point for espionage operations targeting American government and defense information. "Your observations suggest this network has been developing for several years," Agent Chen told Sage during their operational planning. "The sophistication of their cryptographic methods and the systematic nature of their bookstore operations indicates this is a major intelligence threat requiring comprehensive federal response." Sage found himself operating his bookstore duties while simultaneously serving as a counterintelligence asset for federal authorities investigating the espionage network that had been using literary cover for intelligence operations. His legitimate employment provided perfect access for observing operational methods, while his cryptography background enabled him to interpret evidence that untrained investigators might miss. Your position gives us unprecedented insight into their communication patterns and operational security, Agent Chen explained. We need someone who can decode their methods, identify key operatives, and help us understand a complete intelligence network without alerting them to federal counterintelligence interest. The intelligence gathering phase required Sage to balance routine bookstore work with systematic analysis of cryptographic communications and espionage indicators while building detailed profiles of the network's operational capabilities. His NSA training enabled him to recognize patterns and gather evidence without compromising the federal investigation. Sage's analysis revealed that the Boston bookstore operation was more extensive than initially suspected. The intelligence network had established multiple communication methods, developed sophisticated literary cipher systems, and implemented operational security measures that demonstrated professional training and substantial resources. They're processing significant intelligence communications through your location, Agent Chen reported during their case briefing. The cryptographic sophistication suggests state-sponsored operations with access to advanced intelligence training and substantial operational funding. His cryptography expertise proved crucial for understanding how the network maintained secure communications while avoiding detection by American counterintelligence agencies, providing federal authorities with insights that enabled more effective surveillance and evidence collection strategies. The counterintelligence investigation culminated with coordinated operations across multiple cities, targeting the espionage network that Sage's analysis had helped federal authorities understand and penetrate. The investigation revealed intelligence activities that had been operating undetected while potentially compromising American national security information. Exceptional work, Agent Chen told Sage as the arrests and seizures occurred. Your expertise and access enabled us to understand this network in ways that would have been impossible without someone who could recognize cryptographic communications and interpret their intelligence significance. The operations resulted in 12 arrests of suspected foreign intelligence operatives, the seizure of sophisticated encryption equipment and classified materials, and the disruption of espionage activities that had been targeting American defense contractors, government facilities, and technology companies. The investigation also revealed that the bookstore network had been used to coordinate intelligence gathering operations targeting sensitive American research facilities and defense installations, demonstrating the national security implications of allowing foreign intelligence networks to operate within American communities. Your recognition of the cryptographic patterns prevented this network from potentially accessing classified information that could have threatened American security interests, Agent Chen explained during case closure. Foreign intelligence operations typically continue expanding until they achieve their objectives or are disrupted by effective counterintelligence measures. The case received classified attention within intelligence communities but remained largely secret due to ongoing national security implications and the sensitivity of the operatives and methods involved. Sage continued his bookstore work, interacting with customers and managing daily operations, all while maintaining a heightened awareness of potential intelligence activities or threats that could compromise American interests. Sage returned to routine bookstore operations with a new appreciation for how his intelligence background continued to serve national security in unexpected ways. What had once been purely civilian work now offered him a unique vantage point. His interactions, observations, and seemingly ordinary daily routines provided crucial access to foreign intelligence operations that might have remained undetected without his professional expertise. Each book transaction, casual conversation, and subtle detail in customer behavior became an opportunity to monitor potential threats, reminding him that even in quiet, everyday settings, national security vigilance could never be fully set aside. 6 months later, Sage had consulted on 2 additional suspected espionage cases, helped train bookstore and library professionals in recognizing potential intelligence activities, and had become an informal resource for counterintelligence awareness. Within cultural and intellectual communities, people think bookselling is just about connecting readers with literature, Sage explained to a confidential briefing of cultural institution security personnel. But we're also positioned to recognize when our customers might be using our businesses for activities that threaten national security. His bookstore had become a model for intelligence awareness, demonstrating how proper observation of customer patterns and communication indicators could support federal counterintelligence efforts while protecting American security interests. 2 years after the original espionage investigation, Sage had helped identify 3 additional suspected intelligence networks that attempted to use cultural institutions for operational cover. His NSA expertise, combined with his legitimate access to public literary spaces, made him valuable for detecting and disrupting foreign intelligence activities. His secure phone buzzed with a message from Agent Chen, new cryptographic patterns identified in Seattle bookstore operations. Similar methods to your Boston case. Available for consultation on communication analysis. Sage looked at his bookstore, then at the community he served and protected through both literary knowledge and national security awareness. I'll review the intelligence after closing today, he texted back. Some careers never completely end, they just find new applications and new ways to serve national security. Sage Montgomery, former NSA cryptographer, current guardian of intellectual freedom and counterintelligence awareness, continued his work one book recommendation at a time, one protected community at a time, proving that the most important security operations often begin when someone knows how to recognize intelligence activities hiding within ordinary cultural interactions. Sometimes the most crucial counterintelligence cases are discovered in quiet bookstores, by people who understand the difference between innocent literary enthusiasm and systematic espionage operations designed to compromise American national security. Have you ever noticed patterns in cultural or intellectual settings that seemed unusual or potentially suspicious? Share your observations in the comments below, and tell us what city you're watching from today. That if this story of hidden intelligence expertise and national security protection inspired you, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Don't miss the compelling stories appearing on your screen right now. Click to discover more tales of everyday heroes who use their backgrounds to protect communities in unexpected ways, because sometimes the most important counterintelligence operations begin when someone knows how to recognize espionage activities disguised as ordinary intellectual pursuits.
See you in the next videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe.